Warm greetings to everyone and welcome to today's IMC webinar. My name is Jitendra and I'm delighted to be your host for this session. At International Mentoring Center, we are passionate about empowering professionals through mentoring, leadership development, and building vibrant communities of practice. Our mission is to create transformative experiences that help individuals and organizations thrive by sharing stories, skills, and support. We are very pleased to welcome our speaker today, Colonel Venkat Raman. Colonel Venkat Raman, a retired Army engineer with over 4 decades of experience across the armed forces. He holds qualifications in engineering, management, psychology, philosophy, and has served as a faculty member at several leading management institutes. Throughout his career, Colonel Raman has motivated and trained thousands of soldiers, students, and corporate professionals with expertise in leadership, organizational development, sales, soft skills, and mentoring. He has also worked as an assessor for leading organizations including KPMG, Deloitte, and Right Management India. Today's session is about the future of mentoring, trends, challenges, and opportunities. A few quick notes before we begin. The webinar will last about 60 minutes. You're welcome to ask questions by raising your hand or using the chat box. We will also have a Q&A session towards the end of the webinar. This session is being recorded and will be available to you afterwards. And now, without further delay, I'm happy to hand the virtual floor to Colonel Venkat Raman. Colonel Raman, the stage is yours now.
Thank you very much, Jitendra.
Pleasure is mine.
And good evening, everyone. It's a great privilege to be here on the IMC stage and speak about a topic that is very close to my heart. Uh, I have been mentoring, like Jitendra said, several soldiers in my profession, then uh, I would say employees during my stint in HR, and also finally students of B schools in the last 20 years. So mentoring is something that is almost second skin to me, and I really enjoy doing it. So thank you. Having said that, what we are here to talk about today is a very interesting topic, and that is the future of mentoring. So while we all understand what mentoring is, and I will not now dwell into the origins of mentoring or the dictionary meanings of mentoring. I assume that people who have come here are aware of what mentoring is. I'll just quickly, I would like to uh, give you a quick, I would say, difference between coaching and mentoring, because that these two words are confused many a time. So while coaching is one-on-one generally, and it is specifically skill-based, mentoring is more like being a guide or a friend or a philosopher, somebody who holds your hand. And that is what is different uh, between mentoring and coaching. And the difference is more of, I would say, um, experience and trust. Both of them are extremely important. Having said that, this trust portion is important, believe me, because it will connect to what I'm going to talk about in the future of mentoring. So mentoring, as we understand it today, is that somebody who's senior to you, who's more experienced to you in the industry, generally, helps you out with your problems in the at work, and maybe a few personal problems that are connected to the workplace also. Having said that, today we are undergoing a massive shift, and while change is always, something that happens all the while, as they say, nothing is permanent except change. However, today the shift is pervasive, very strong. And what I mean by this is that technology has come in as a major and a very potent force. I'm sure you all understand how internet and then now AI has become all pervasive and is literally, I would say, running the world and the industry at large. So, having said that, mentoring also is not unaffected by it. But while we say mentoring is about guidance, then how does technology come in? To understand that, I will share the presentation, make it a little more clear. This is what I'm going to talk to you about: trends, challenges, and opportunities about the future. So we all at the present, but then we need to understand how mentoring has changed or how mentoring is shaping up. So first we look at what the trends are, then we look at the challenges, and finally we see how to convert challenges into opportunities. Yeah, so let's go ahead. So talking about the trend, the workforce today is multi-generational and development. So one size fits all does not work. Okay, so when we talk about development, we talk about mentoring here as development. It cannot be a one size fits all, because we have today Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and maybe Gen Alpha also, a bit of it. So while we have so many generations here, four of them, and of course, Gen Z is the one that is the most, I would say, today the majority are Gen Z, and therefore, certainly we need to think about mentoring Gen Z. We can also think of mentoring the other generations as well, because peers can be mentored, and that's something which I will come to again. So different experiences, different career stages call for more than single linear pathway. In my career again, what I had discussed here at IMC also was how mentoring can be very different for soldiers, for corporates, and for students. So similarly, like I said, one size doesn't fit all. Here there are several generations, and therefore we need to deal with each generation differently. And we need to certainly deal with Gen Z, I would say, very differently. And I'll come to that also. So what do employees value? Today, what employees value or what they feel relevant is about personalized growth. Today's employees are different from, I would say, the yesteryears where we had huge corporations, the so-called uh, the companies which were like Hyundai, for example, which I remember in those days, if you entered a company, for example, even in India, we had Tata Sons. So if you entered a company, you would think of retiring in the same company. Today, I would say the shelf life of a corporate in the industry is roughly 2 years. And even that is quite, I would say, uh, it's a bit on the higher side. So if 2 years is what a corporate gives in the industry today to a company, obviously individuals today are looking for faster growth. So the goals, the challenges all become different. And that's why, again, coaching has become a big buzzword these days, because people are concerned about their careers. However, mentoring still will and always be there. Psychological safety, questions, uncertainty, honest feedback are welcome. Now, here, when we talk about psychological safety, uh, since we have different generations, and the younger especially, for them, psychological safety is extremely important. They are direct, they are transparent, and therefore, uh, trust is not something that is taken for granted. You have to earn your trust today. You cannot take it for granted. The major difference between mentoring in the earlier years and mentoring today is that in the olden days, seniors were taken for granted. If you had age, if you had experience, you were respected. While today, elders are respected and experience is valued, but the youth can question. And I don't blame them. They've got technology, they've got the internet, they've got AI, and so they question. I'm telling from my own personal experiences, because as a teacher, when I teach in college, students are very inquiring. They don't straight away accept what you say. So when that is the case, Psychological safety takes time to build today. And you have to set a personal example. You have to really win their trust. And that again is when you have a real interest in them, in what they do, and you work from a position of caring. That is when it works. That is important. And then you have to be purposeful today. You have to be very focused today. You have to show that it connects to something meaningful. You can't just keep rambling. That's important. So we spoke about technology, and here's the slide on technology. Technology is changing how knowledge moves through an organization. Digital tools can connect people across distance, but connection alone does not create learning. This sentence is very important. Connection alone does not create learning. Today, again, the emphasis is on learning by yourself. Today, we have online learning platforms. IMC has one such. And when we talk about an online learning, it is more that the person who's interested will come and connect. You can't push it down others' throats. Learning has to be active. Learning has to be self-driven. And technology is helping people in this. Today we have even gaming. Gamification is there where people can play games and learn. It's a big thing today in the industry. There are LMS platforms which are online today in almost every company. So this is where learning, the entire, I would say, manner of learning has changed. So classroom learning is now, I would say, almost history. And it's given way to various other platforms in learning. Okay, legacy models were built for a different workplace. When we talk about legacy models, we talk about olden days, that what was happening earlier. So in a legacy model, we had a one-way expertise. That means the mentor used to talk and the mentee used to listen. That's it. Something like teaching. I mean, in the olden days again. Teaching today is again two-way. You have to involve students. You have to give them activities. It can't be one way. Then we had structured matches. So, I mean, you were told, okay, you will mentor so and so. It wasn't even, you weren't even asked sometimes, or that whom would you like to be a mentor? You were just given a mentor. Similarly, for a mentor, you were given a mentee and you couldn't ask questions. But today, the mentor can choose the mentee can choose the mentor. It's like that. Then we had knowledge in silos. So yesterday, knowledge was, stocked and secret and confidential and kept with a few people. Today, knowledge is free. Everyone has access to it ever since the internet came. You don't know something, just Google it. And you got it on your hands in a second. So it's very different today. And finally, career paths are set from the top. So again, it's all top driven. I'm talking about the olden days. Today, you will be surprised. It means it's more bottom driven. So in a future ready model, what is going to happen in the future is there's going to be exchange from all sides. So we could have several mentors. You don't need to have only one mentor. And in fact, the mentor could be mentored. That's also possible. So we have peer mentoring, we have flash mentoring, we have reverse mentoring, which we'll be talking about. So mentoring can't be just confined to a top-down approach. Then flexible, and we have purposeful. So we are again talking about purposeful. It has to be focused. You can't just generally talk about mentoring. Okay, how are you? What are your problems? Are you feeling good today? No, it's not like that. You've got to be very focused in mentoring. Again, you've got to be specific. Then there is knowledge sharing across networks. So even mentoring, for that example, is you can share your knowledge. And sharing does not really stop you from becoming less powerful. Gone are the days when people felt that if you shared knowledge, you're giving away something. No, it's not like that at all, because everyone has access to it. It's the way you put it across. And more importantly, it's how much people really trust you. That's what matters. And then finally, growth is shaped with the employees. So it's a two-way process. Both of them get involved in growth. So they also take part, you also take part. You give your maybe 70%, they give their 30%. and both grow. You also grow, the mentee also grows. Now, what are roadblocks in virtual mentoring? So virtual mentoring is what I'm doing right now, and face-to-face mentoring is certainly nothing beats it. But virtual mentoring can work. Definitely it can work, provided again, the person is really interested in the topic. And there is a, I would say, real need. There's a hunger to get mentored. Then it doesn't matter. And more importantly, you know the mentor. That is also important. So what are the roadblocks? One is digital fatigue. I don't know how many groups I have on my WhatsApp. I really don't know. I've lost count. Today, the average time you spend between checking your mobiles has become 3 minutes. That means you need to check your mobile every 3 minutes. Imagine. And otherwise, you start feeling something is wrong. That's how it is. And I've heard of, people getting up first thing in the morning and starting to check their mobiles. That's how it has reached. So when there are too many online conversations, then what happens is that you tend to defer uh, talking about something. But when you have a offline, when you have a straight face to face, it's easier to connect and talk about something you really wanted to talk about. Trust me, 10 minutes down the line in an online conversation, people do get tired and they want to move on. It's natural. But then again, it's of course difficult, or it's a challenge to keep the interest. Much more a challenge in a virtual conversation. Then we talk about misaligned expectations. Mentors may feel overextended while mentees lack a clear goal. So today, mentoring is not easy. Like I told you, since mentees are inquiring, transparent, they'll question you. You won't believe this. I went for an ethics class, and one of the students actually asked me, "Sir, tell me an instance when you were unethical." Imagine. That's the kind of questioning I get in my class, and I've got to be prepared for it. But then I didn't let my guard down. I disarmingly smiled and said, "Yes, I did do it, and this is what happened." And they all laughed about it. So fine. But I'm saying this is what we need to accept. So we need to ensure that mentees have a clear goal. Again, why do they lack a clear goal? They've got so much on their plate. They're actually spoiled for choices today. And therefore, they're confused, mighty confused. Finally, an engagement drop off, conversation stall, relationship fades. So online is online. It can never replace face to face. Therefore, like I said, after a while, people do tend to, get fatigued and drop off. It's natural. And so the greater the challenge to keep the momentum on. Okay. Now, how do we recover from these derailers? We need to have clarity. So right in the beginning, in your mentoring relationship, define why that relationship exists. There must be a clear reason why. You have to establish the why. There has to be a need, a very strong need. If there's no need, people are not going to connect. And then what a good outcome looks like. So you have to tell them that through mentoring, this is what you have to show them, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's only then that they will really be interested. Then we have cadence. So see that there is a proper, sequence. Everything goes in sequence. Prompts and moments that work, real work. That means you have to establish the rhythm. You have to ensure that the interest is maintained. There has to be a cadence. Thirdly, a connection. So peers, leaders, specialists, cross-functional partners, all of them need to be connected. It's not just you and your mentee. You have to look at the larger audience and connect to it. It has to be one big family. Finally, the choice. So the employees choose the formats and people that fit the question at hand. So allow the employees or the mentees to choose their formats. You can't impose things on them. That is important to ensure that you don't derail the process. Let the mentee take the full, I would say, freedom in deciding what format he or she would like to choose. Jitendra, I hope we can continue, and unless there are any questions.
Yes, we can continue. If somebody, having a question, they can put it in the chat box and we can pick them at last. It's okay.
Great, great, great. Thank you very much. I just wanted to confirm that. Yeah. So now we go to the next one. Clarity transforms goodwill into purposeful mentoring. That is why when there is a lot at stake, and when there are chances for derailment, when there's a lot of chance for fog, uncertainty, so clarity will ensure goodwill, and goodwill is very important. So what is goodwill? Goodwill is simply that you and they are very confident that they are doing the right thing, that they are on the right path, and each one trusts the other. That's goodwill. So that would result in purposeful mentoring. So we need goals, expectations, boundaries, and an agreed next step. So remember, in the future, the mentee is going to expect clear goals, clear expectations, clear boundaries, and a clear path. So it is they who will decide it, and they will expect it from you. So you have to jointly agree to it. You cannot run the show in mentoring. It has to be a joint effort. So cadence turns a one-off conversation into learning habit. So when you keep the rhythm lightweight to sustain and enough to matter, keep the interest. Don't let it become too heavy. Don't let it even stop. Don't let there be a break. There has to be continuity. And at the same time, it shouldn't be something that people lose interest in. So you have to keep the interest, you have to keep the continuity, and you have to keep it running. That is very important. It's very easy to lose interest, especially in virtual connects. What do we do next? Formats. So I told you, let the mentee choose the format. Now, what are the formats available today? One is flash mentoring. So what's a flash mentoring? Flash simply means quick. And while mentoring generally used to be seen as a very continuous and a long relationship, probably as long as both of them lasted in the company, today it's about short conversations for a timely question. Yeah, and even the mentoring sessions, for that matter. I remember when I was in the industry in HR, we used to have mentoring sessions, and they used to be generally on Friday afternoons, and generally at least for an hour, which would spill over to an hour and a half sometimes, from 3 p.m. onwards. So today it's not about an hour, it's not about even half an hour, it could be 10 minutes. So the mentee suddenly feels that he or she needs clarity on something. So they come to you and say, okay, sir, I need some clarity in this. Can you help me? And you've got to be able to give the answer in 10 minutes because they don't have time. They've got several things on their hand. And if you're going to make it run longer and longer, they're going to lose interest. Remember that. So flash mentoring is something that today's Gen Z prefers a lot. Remember that. Peer mentoring. Colleagues learn together through shared experience. Now, this is very interesting. Again, it's breaking the entire, I would say, the idea of mentoring that used to be there. That mentoring is done by somebody senior. That mentoring is done by a very aged and elderly person, someone who has lots of experience. No, mentoring can be done by peers. So there could be somebody who's experienced something and shares their experiences with the others. That is also mentoring because it's guiding the other person on what to do and how to do it. So you have learned something, you experienced something, you share it with others. That's mentoring. As long as people are interested and people learn from it. Then we have reverse mentoring, which is even more interesting. So what is reverse mentoring? This is really interesting for Gen Z. Because here, even the elders can learn from them, and especially digital stuff. Today, I get my website designed by my student who's 21, 22, because I'm not very adept at making my website and I know it. So I tell my student, hey, can you do it for me? And he's so happy. So that's reverse mentoring. And he comes and shows me how to do it, how to run it. So that's reverse mentoring for you. And then finally, we have network mentoring. So employees can build a circle of guidance instead of relying on one match. So while you do have a mentor, you could build a network of several people around you whom you could ask for guidance. That's more convenient for them. So if they need something in a certain area, they would ask X. If they need it in another area, they would ask Y. So mentoring need not be confined to only one person. Everyone can pitch in and it benefits everybody. So these are the new formats that we can use in the mentoring in future, mentoring of the future. Yeah,
So,
we'll go ahead.
Kanadaman, we have a
Yeah,
question here related to this,
Haji.
where as you were talking about Gen Z. So we have a
Hmm.
question from Mohan Matthew. What challenges
Mm-hmm.
you faced while mentoring Gen Z?
Okay. Wondering, wonderful, wonderful. So I can share my experience when I was in college, and I was I'm still in teaching them right now, and um, I am a mentor for some of them also. Therefore, I make it a point. The challenge that I have really felt when I mentor Gen Z is that I have to be their friend. I can't be like a parent. My natural tendency, because of my age and experience, is to be like a parent first. But then I have to quell that thought. No, I am not a parent. I am a friend. So I've got to come down to their level. I've got to forget my ego. And this has happened on several occasions. So I switch off literally. And then I remember, listen, you are not their father, you're their friend. I have to switch roles. And then things have actually become smoother. So while I don't want to take names, it certainly has happened in the case of students where I switched my role and it became much easier. I hope that satisfies the participant who's in the audience.
Yes, I hope Mohan got the answer. If he will be having any follow-up questions, he can write it in the chat box. We may continue, please.
Thank you. Yeah. So flash purpose, flash we have already spoken about, reverse we have spoken about, peer we have spoken about, and network. We've already spoken about all these. Now, let's go to the business opportunity. Mentoring can embed new hires in a network that helps them understand culture and work. Where do we fit in? I'll talk about my personal experience. I was in the industry, I was in HR, I was doing uh, the induction for senior employees, and I used to do the presentation. After that, I used to share stories about the culture of the company. I used to tell them, uh, in addition to, of course, who's who and where the offices are, I would tell them stories about what happened at work. I would help them to connect immediately to a lot of experiences which I had at work. And that helped tremendously. You won't believe this. People who have been inducted by me, even today, some of them are my friends, best friends, because they've remembered that initial conversation. And remember, it's the initial conversation that counts. It's the first meeting that counts, and it had better count. And it shows the culture of your company also. So new hires learn how decisions, norms, and relationships work. In a future setting, it's very important for you as a mentor to show the mentee or the joinee what the culture of the company. And the culture doesn't mean just the credo or the vision or the mission. It really means telling them stories about what happens in the company. Then we talk about a technical context, which means connections surface the knowledge needed to navigate systems and processes. So, because of technology, please use technology to your advantage. Make the best use of technology, AI, and certainly it's the human element ultimately that counts, but use technology as a facilitator. Why not? It's there to help you, but it shouldn't replace you. Remember that. And then a stronger network can shorten the path from arrival to productive participation. So you need to ensure in a future context that because timelines are shorter, having a network can help to do things faster. Remember that. Then, when mentoring becomes a core business strategy, it makes capability more visible and more transparent. So, capture institutional knowledge. What does that mean? Move experience out of silos and into useful conversations. So don't keep your experience to yourself. I'm not saying convert it into slides and share it with everyone. What it means is that whatever information or experience you have, share it in the form of stories, in the form of conversations with people regularly. Don't keep it to yourself and don't use it very sparingly. Sharing never has harmed anyone. Please remember, nothing in the world is being created by us. So why should we? Yes, I know there is something called IPR, but still, I believe that we become stronger by sharing. Then future proofing talent, expanding access to insight and stretching opportunities and internal career visibility. What does this mean? That when we stretch opportunities, when we show career visibility to our mentees, when we give them a lot of insights, we ensure that we make the talent such that it can withstand any shocks. So your mentees would be able to withstand shocks in the future. And we all know what VUCA is, volatility in the uh, corporate enterprise. So we need to future proof that talent. We need to make them stronger. And that can be done through insight, stretching opportunities, and through showing them a lot of transparency. Then finally, building an ecosystem. Like we said, we spoke about networks. So treat mentoring as a shared habit, not an isolated HR initiative. The more you share it, the more you create networks, the more people will certainly benefit and the network will only strengthen. It will only grow. Each one of your peers can become a mentor. And like I said, we talk about peer mentoring. The whole ecosystem can be one huge mentoring platform. Yeah. So the future of mentoring is not a program people enroll in. It's a culture of knowledge exchange. And we here have to design for openness, clarity, and many ways to connect. So who's Gen Z? 97 to 2012. So typically people who are about 20, uh, maybe 18 to 25, anywhere between that. They're digitally fluent, they value authenticity, and they are purpose driven. Please remember that. Okay, one sec. Yeah. So 83%, some figure, 83% of Gen Z says that workplace mentor is crucial. This is great news. So we are in the business. We should be happy. But we need to be different. We need to treat them differently. 52% report to having one. A closable gap, that means about 30% still don't have a mentor. And finally, 86% say mentorship and guidance are what they're primarily seeking at work. They need somebody to guide them. Okay? What Gen Z wants from mentors? Again, very interesting. Honest, frequent feedback. Very important. They are very transparent. They are very clear in their minds what they want. and they want honesty above all. They need informal relationships. They don't like formal relationships. They prefer when you are, you know, when you break the ice with them. Then they also want clear growth paths. Growth paths. They don't want any fudging that you may do this, you may do that. No. What should I do? Period. That's what they want. While of course you can't put it into a very constricted jacket, you can at least tell them what they are good at and what their possible options are. And then finally, it's a two-way learning. Remember, Jitendra, just let me know when time is done.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. So they expect to teach as much as they are taught. Remember this, and especially on tech and trends. There are so many, you know, words today that I can't understand. The words that they speak in their language. I don't know when they say so many. It's cool. No, I don't know what's cool. Maybe I need to reduce the temperature in my AC. Who knows? So these are things that our generation really never knew, and we've got to get used to it. We've got to understand it. Okay. So what are the models that work for Gen Z? I've said it earlier. I'm saying it again. Reverse mentoring. So you must be ready to be mentored by them as well. No ego problems here, please. And then micro mentoring, short, focus. This is flash mentoring basically, 15 to 20-minute sessions on a particular question or a skill. Then group mentoring. So they want to network. They want to do it together. Peer mentoring. Again, all of them together at the same level, taking inputs from each other. So this is what works with them today, or maybe in the future. Challenges again for Gen Z. Mentors see check-ins as extra work. So any check-in that you have with your mentor, if your mentee calls you, you feel it's extra work. But no, the mentee doesn't have any fixed timetable. Please remember that. They want to talk to you when they want to talk to you, when they feel comfortable and when they need you. So you can't say, okay, can we talk tomorrow or maybe on Monday? That's not the right way. If they have a problem, talk to them now. You might say it's invasion of privacy, but then that's how it is. Today's generation likes to work after 10 p.m. You can't tell them, call me tomorrow. It's not done. They'll only distance themselves from you and you'll be the loser. Remember that. So, short mentoring touch points are required. They are hesitant to ask for help openly. So, they are not very, happy with saying, I really don't know how to do this. Maybe they'll tell it to you in another way. Does this work? Is there a better way to do this? So they'll be hesitant to tell straight away that they need help. However, you can always say, okay, rather than telling them openly, this is how it works, say, why don't you refer to this? This will show you how it works. So they'll be happy to do it by themselves. Then a mismatched communication style. So you talk to them, in a authoritative manner, in a teacher mode. You can't tell them. You have to sell to them. So they let mentees choose the chat video or any format that they need. You can't tell them we'll connect like this. No. Now you might say, why are we pandering to them? Well, it's not about pandering. It's about changing your style to suit your mentee. Remember that. It's about you being able to connect with them and you being able to give the best you have to them. Because if there's a disconnect, then whatever knowledge and experience you have, they're not going to take it from you. Remember that. And then finally, mentoring fading after onboarding. To set recurring reminders, light structure past month. So keep the excitement on. You needn't call it mentoring. You can call it, okay, let's have a quick game. And in that game itself, you can have some kind of mentoring. Remember, Gen Z prefers activity. They want to do something. And today, when I go for my sessions to various institutions, I generally keep the last 1 hour for a huge activity, a leadership activity. I give them I break them into groups of 3 or 4 and give them something to do, something to solve. And they're so happy doing it. Rather than listening, it's better to make them do. Yeah. So these are a summary of some of the best practices. You can read it yourself. So I hope everyone has read this. And if there's a question, please post it on the chat box. I would certainly, after this presentation, I would take them on. Can we go to the next slide, Vijendra?
Yes, you can go. We have few questions. We will pick that up once you're done with the presentation.
Great, thank you. Okay, we just have a couple of slides to go. So we can compare attention, we can check scores, we can keep milestones, and we need to keep the consistency. This is how we measure the impact. Uh, this is certainly just translating it into numbers. That's it. That's the last slide I have for today.
Wonderful,
So it's a two-way
Kanana.
street. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So we have few questions here. We have one question
Yeah,
from Mohan. Frustration level is so high among youngsters. So how do you help them to give hope?
great. Yes, certainly frustration levels are higher. I would not call it frustration levels, pardon me for saying so. It is more of stress levels, I would say. And of course, stress can create frustration, of course. Therefore, when stress levels are high, therefore, probably their threshold levels become lower. And certainly, with the pressure on them to perform, we are talking now about students in college who have to appear for exams, for example, medical entrance, engineering entrance. It's tough for them. And even at work, there's a lot of pressure. So when these stress levels are high and therefore the thresholds are low, I think the best way for you to mentor them is whenever you have conversations with them, first of all, keep it light. Let there be a lot of fun. Let there be a lot of activity. Involve a game. Uh, Maybe you could, connect it to even outbound because that's something they really enjoy. So keep it light, keep it active, and keep it interesting. Um, the most important thing in keeping the frustration levels low for them is to tell them that while competition is there, it's not the end of the world if you aren't the best. There is always a second best who does equally well. And you have to tell them that competition should not kill, that life is a journey, and we are here to enjoy the journey. It's not about just reaching destination. That's what I believe can certainly help in reducing the frustrations and the stress levels. Anything else?
Yes. So most of the people are working remotely, which results mentoring has actually come down. So what is your take on this?
So I would again say that one is online mentoring, which, yes, certainly the to keep them interested becomes a challenge. But if that is not possible, and if remote working is the order of the day, uh, as a mentor, let there be some monthly, I would say, picnics, outings, where everyone meets up, or even a coffee conversation where people actually meet, if it's possible, unless the distances are too great. Even if the distances are too great, uh, they could meet up once in a while, not virtually, but physically. It's important to meet physically at the end of the day to keep the, I would say, uh, to keep the uh, uh, trust levels higher as far as possible.
Okay. So So we have another question. Gen Z are influenced by social media and
Hmm.
disillusioned about India, and they want to
Hmm.
leave India. So how to tell them that India is a good place to stay?
A very good question. I would say it's not a new thing that the younger generation wants to leave. My daughter's also gone to Singapore, and it's been happening for quite some years. I don't think it's a new thing. I may be wrong again, that probably things have increased. I would say that, in fact, there are quite a few people now that India is rising. India is number three. India is a major power today. That international colleges are opening up here, and people are coming here to work from abroad. And there's a reverse brain drain happening. There are very many people who are coming back from the US, from Silicon Valley to settle in Bengaluru. So I would say that it's both ways. People do go, people do come. Yes, uh, your point is well taken. How do we tell them that India is a great country? Let's be honest. India is certainly great, but we need to understand that the kind of development that has taken place in Europe and America is far ahead. They are maybe 20, 30 years ahead because they had the industrial revolution. We can't deny that. And we were under subjugation for 100 years. We achieved our independence about 76 years back. So we are growing very fast, but there are still opportunities abroad that you can't deny. And therefore, anybody who wants to really go, they will go. But the best way to make the youth proud of our country is to make our country strong. And we, our generation, my generation, your generation, we have a major role to play in it. We've got to make our country so strong, so good today that they say, yes, we don't want to leave this place. We would prefer to be here. And certainly we could use social media as well to project India as a great country.
Great.
Anything else?
Yes. So I have one question.
Hmm.
What role will AI and emerging technologies play in the future of mentoring?
Very good question. So AI is all pervasive. AI is now being used for anything and everything. And like I said, it's used for mentoring also. But AI cannot replace the human. I'm very clear about that. However, where AI could be of use is at least to select a mentor mentee relationship to see what is the best fit. And AI could also help the mentor to sift and understand what information can be given to the mentee, which is of relevance. So you could use AI as a content maker. However, for the delivery, I think the human is the best.
Okay. If somebody has a question, please type it in the chat box. We are left with 5 minutes, to get the session ended. Okay. What are the biggest mistakes organizations make when implementing mentoring programs?
Yeah, good question. While I'm no one to criticize organizations, and every organization has their own freedom in creating their mentoring models, but one pitfall, as I can see it, especially in large organizations, what happens is that the larger the organization, the more the confusion, in the sense that it becomes a little difficult to manage. The corporate office is uh, somewhere, the branch offices are in other countries. Now you look at Nestle, they are there in almost every country in the world. So a company like that finds it, of course, you can decentralize everything and do it, no doubt about it. But remember here, if we have a common mentoring policy, look at the kind of, you know, uh, look at the kind of conditions it would impose, because we have people from hundreds of cultures in that company, and each culture is so different, and each person needs to be handled differently. So having a common mentoring policy is actually a joke, according to me. So you would have to devise a way in which every office, every country, every area has its own specific mentoring policies. That is more, I would say, practical.
Great. As you recently, mentioned about different countries and the culture, so I have a follow-up question here. What are mentoring programs makes scalable across different countries, cultures, and generations?
Can you come over the question again?
So, what makes a mentoring program scalable across different countries, cultures, and generations, as you were talking about the different countries in the culture?
Oh, very interesting. So we need some base and we need to scale it up. Fair enough. So while, like I said, cultures are different and therefore practices are different, likes are different, paths are different, ways of achieving them are different. However, if there's a common company policy, which there certainly would be across cultures, the mentoring must by far at least ensure that you reach the company's vision, mission, and its, whatever it wants to achieve. So, so your entire mentoring, wherever you are, in whatever area you are, whichever culture you are, it should ensure that it reaches, or it is directed towards the company vision. That is important. Then it easily becomes scalable, in the sense that wherever you are, start from the base, but keep adding up according to how the company is growing. So look at how the company is growing, how the company is shaping up, what the company's vision is. Company's visions can also, sometimes not the vision, but at least the mission can change. And therefore, once the mission changes, again, your culture could change and shape up. Therefore, your mentoring paths could also then follow that path. So follow the path of the culture, follow the path of the vision. You won't go wrong.
Great. As we are towards the end, I have one very last question. Colonel Laman, if you could change one thing about traditional corporate mentoring today, what would it be and why?
So I would like to change mentoring as, rather than the traditional way of top down, I would prefer it to be both ways. Reverse mentoring should be acceptable. That is important. Open up.
I think we do not have any further questions. So, yeah, so we can move forward. So thank you, Colonel Venkat Raman, for sharing your expertise with us today. It was truly enriching. And thank you, everyone who joined us. We hope you found this session meaningful and inspiring. Stay tuned for upcoming IMC events and webinars. And if you would like to get involved or learn, kindly visit mentoringcenter.org. Wishing you continued growth and connection in your mentoring and leadership journey. Thank you so much, everyone, and very special thanks to Colonel Venkatraman.
Thank you, everyone, for listening and joining in. Thank you so much. Bye.
Take care, everyone. Bye.